taken to having your lunch, learning about Goliath resources. Founder and CEO of the company. It's been around since 2017. Had the vision to essentially, hopefully discover the next largest Tier 1 high-grade gold deposit in the Golden Triangle, British Columbia, which is a very target-rich environment, world-class geological setting. Forward-looking statements.
Please speak up.
Speak up. All right, will do. So, does anyone know what commodity has beaten the S&P for over 2 decades? Any guess?
Marijuana.
Commodity. So gold actually has outperformed S&P, USD bonds. And that's why I think some of you folks, if you are interested in this space, it's a good time to be buying, or certainly considering our stock, because we are currently trading at a pullback here a little bit. Have excellent value that's built into the story to date. By way of background, quickly, investment banker. I was in Toronto, Canada for over 30 years. I'm my own exempt market dealer's license, and shown a package of rocks in 2016, 2017, which kind of sparked the idea of, hey, this could be the next large SK Creek style of discovery in this sector. We talked about that, so I know we don't have a lot of time here, but there's kind of 10 or 11 takeaways here. Sherbet is a brand new discovery. The only reason we found it is because it was covered under glaciers, a permanent snowpack until recent times. So far, we've outlined over 1.8 square kilometers of high-grade mineralization of stacked veins. Kind of thinking of your 10-layer lasagna, and the meat has got the gold and so on, and silver and copper and lead, but it's primarily a gold system that we've uncovered. This year's drilling, just over 38,000 meters. 92% of those holes have visible gold in it, so it's a pretty big number. Typically, visible gold you don't see so often, or even within that 92% includes 34% of abundant visible gold in our drill core. Think about that. It's a little small diameter, kind of 2.5 inches, hitting visible gold in 92% of the holes. Abundant visible gold is more than 4 occurrences. To date, really we've only spent almost 15 months, like a year and a half. It's seasonal. It's been 4 years. We can drill around 3 months of the year, plus or minus. So again, it's very young, hit on every hole, which is pretty incredible. And we've done some early met work. Essentially, we're getting a 92% recovery of the gold from gravity flotation. So there's no deleterious material, no cyanides required. Just a simple crush at a 327 micron, so that's 0.01 of an inch. Run it through gravity, flotation, flow sheet, and you're getting, with that 92%, 50% of that is pretty much free gold from gravity alone. So you could possibly pour doré bars on site. It is an incredible discovery, the fact that I've been able to raise over $58 million in a shitty market in the resource space in the last 3 years. The last raise I did was at $1.97.5 with no warrant. Market cap right now is about 155 million Canadian. All the senior miners are coming home to roost. They're coming back to Canada. It's a safe jurisdiction, mining friendly, First Nations, mining friendly, pro-business. Infrastructure, the town of Kitsault. It was built back by Phelps Dodge in the 70s for the moly mine. That was in operation very shortly, brief period in the 80s. That housed up to 1,000 people at its peak. You can actually drive to the town from Terrace, BC, which is about an hour-and-a-half flight north of Vancouver. And Terrace, again, just to give you an idea, Alaska kind of comes down, and it's kind of around that zone where Alaska gets really skinny as it comes to the south. And it does sit in tidewater. So benefits of that, you can ship material out, down to rail, very close by, moving material up and down the entire project. And again, I do believe it'll be a Tier 1 asset when we finish it, drilling with the program. We've got another probably 2-3 years of drilling maybe, or perhaps next year is our final drill program. I just don't know what we're going to hit. But a lot of these new discoveries start out really, really big in the beginning, and the more you drill, the smaller and smaller it gets. Guess what? Every time we drill, we're finding new mineralized zones in the system. So we still don't know how big it is. So that's a good question to have. You know, if you talk to some of the key shareholders like Eric Sprott or Rob McHugh are our shareholders of our company. Crescat Capital is the question is how big is it? It's like we don't know, because guess what? We're finding new stuff every year, which is very, very exciting. Tier 1 potential, essentially a long life of mine, kind of 10 years kind of thing, low cost. And I do believe this will be a mine someday. So stay tuned. Share structure, 136 million issued outstanding. Fully diluted, we're 168 million. Again, I just raised $26 million in the last 3 months or so here. 22.6, pardon me. And so that'll pay for the upsized drill program, 38,000 meters. With that, we'll have roughly 7-8 million left in the till. I do have about $9.5 million dollars of warrants that are deep in the money, 62 cents. Guess what? They all expire starting in 2025, Q1, Q2, Q4. High probability, our assay results are going to be positive, assuming the stock stays a buck, buck and a half, buck and a quarter, where it's been trading here. That money should be coming in 2025. Board management team, we've got 19%. Crescat Capital, they're a fund based out of Denver, Colorado. They've been investors in the company before we drilled this new system, December 2020. Shortly thereafter, Eric Sprott came in as a shareholder prior to drilling. And then we've been added a strategic institutional group out of Europe, German-based. And then we've got Rob McHugh, again, around 4%. Recently, with the financings, a group out of Singapore, Global Commodity Group, they own about 4% now. They've been buying stock in the market here from $1.30 down to kind of $1.10. And then Eric Sprott, of course, sitting at 3%. And more recently, Larry Childress. He's from the U.S., Missouri, dairy farmer. Made his money in the oil patch, and he doesn't really buy a lot of stocks, but when he does, he goes big. As an example, the Noront Resources, he was the second largest shareholder of that company. He was taken up by Wyloo for $700 million, and right now he's currently the second largest shareholder of Fireweed Metals, second behind the Lundin family. Research is Red Cloud, Zacks. Zacks recently, Ron Wortel, PNG. Out of Toronto, his new target, I guess, in the U.S. is around $3.50. That's US dollars, by the way. Currently, U.S. we're trading around 97 cents. And then a watch list from Beacon Securities. This year I did have Beacon Securities analysts on site. I also had Cormark, Bank of Montreal. Actually, Bank of Montreal sent a PNG as well as a PGO. And also Raymond James was there. Craig Stanley, who just initiated coverage on Dolly Varden. Volumes are really, really good with this name. Ever since I created the company, this year we've traded for 52 weeks, over 80 million shares, VWAP around $1. Again, Canadian, got a high of 137, a low of 73 cents. So, where do we sit on the Lassonde curve? Some of you may be familiar with this, some may not. Essentially, smart guy, Pierre Lassonde, came up with this idea of like the high risk, high reward prior to production. The yellow circle here is simply where I think we are right now in the stage, where I think there's quite a bit of upside still left in the name. As an example, companies with 3 million ounces in the ground in a maiden resource, they're trading upwards to north of $1 billion. Again, we're trading, and this is Canadian, we're trading 155 million Canadian. So I think we got a long way to go. And really the door number one for management, we're project generators, we're not mine operators. It's essentially to do kind of a Great Bear type of transaction where they didn't put a resource together, but they have enough drilling. By the back of the envelope, they calculated they have maybe 3 to 4 million ounces with upside of maybe 8 million. They got taken up for $1.8 billion Canadian. When gold was trading around $1,600–1,700, gold's currently trading around $2,700, and doesn't look to be going south from here. Location-wise, again, lower part of the Golden Triangle, benefit. We've got tidewater access, and one of our neighbors, Dolly Varden, their market cap's around 400 million, just to the northeast here. Good team. Here's a piece of our town here, just the shacks. Core shacks and some of the apartment buildings where the team sleeps. Again, this house up to 1,000 people at its peak. We've got industrial-sized kitchen. We've got high-tension power. We've got, again, the old mine site is still there, the old Kitsault mine, which was a moly mine. The mine equipment is gone, but it's still there, sits on private property, is permitted. So in a mining scenario, we have a turnkey solution. We have excellent metallurgy, we've got the town of Kitsault, we have an old mine site, we sit on tidewater. And more importantly, we have excellent metallurgy, getting a 92.2% recovery, no cyanide required, so environmentally we have friendly, low OPEX, low CAPEX scenarios for a senior miner to come in. There's kind of a view here. We've got 10 minutes for questions. So one thing I'd like to share is what was so unique about this discovery is you can actually see mineralization. This is looking north. You have mineralization for a kilometer going up the side of the mountain, wraps around, goes down the north side for another 1.2 kilometers, 700 meters of vertical relief. So we had a 3D model of this system even before we drilled it in 2021. Again, we've hit on every hole we drilled into this area. 1.8 square kilometers equates to roughly 336 NFL football fields, so it's quite significant. A bit of a close-up on the material. This is the discovery channel that we took. And here's that 1.8 square kilometer area with the 2021 to 2023 drilling we've done to date. So this year, again, we drilled over 38,000 meters. We released 2 holes. One was 5.25 meters over 1 ounce material. And we have 105 holes. Assays are pending right now. So we have a whole wall of news that should start flowing here in the next sort of 2 to 3 weeks here into the new year. We've hired some smart people to help us out, SRK, Archer Cathro, Colorado School of Mines. And here's the baklava, sort of that 10-layer lasagna telling you about. So we have this series of stacked vein system. Everything up above, if you do a quick math calculation on the lengths and widths, there's looking maybe between 25 to 35 million tons of material. The grade, who knows, we're thinking might be between 3 to 6 grams per ton gold equivalent. And then the purple bit here, that's sort of the contact between the sediments above and the volcanics below. We call that the bonanza. The reason why we're excited about bonanza is the fact we're getting over 1 ounce recovery of over 9 meters, up to 9 meters. We stepped out from that hole this year. That was that 5.25 meter hole wide that ran over 1 ounce. So just to do the math on this one little tiny bit of the triangle, you can see some of these intercepts are up to over 27 meters. We see mineralization. It all looks the same. We've hit all these holes plus or minus 5 meters. It tells us the continuity is there. It's predictable, a robust, structurally controlled type of system, which, again, senior miners, that's what they're looking for. It ticks the box. So as far as potential volume here, if it's 5 to 8 meters on average, you're looking at 2 million to 3 million tons of material. So let's think about that. So a bunch of our holes are sitting around over an ounce. Let's say if it runs half an ounce to an ounce. We're looking at maybe 1.5 to 3 million ounces potential, assays pending and so on, and maiden resource 4301 pending at a future date. And there's the starter pit for any miner to come in and pay for the CapEx out of the gate. That's what every senior miner is looking to do. Find a high grade load, at least a half an ounce. And then the Premier started with 1 million ounces at 10 grams. So half an ounce would be around 15 grams. Again, we've got 14 holes, assays pending. Material, again, looks the same. I had a shareholder say, hey, you guys put up the same drill core. It's like, well, no, it's the same bloody vein. It's just 720 meters to the northwest. Another one's 620 meters to the southeast. So, again, plus or minus 5 meters. We're pretty confident that this is going to run some pretty high grade, again, with that 92% of the gold in the drill core. And every hole within the triangle had VG, actually, and then one had the most amount of VG that we've drilled to date. And the last takeaway, I'll leave some time for questions, is everything sits above the valley floor. So up until this year, we hadn't drilled below the valley floor. So that bonanza contact is 200 meters above the valley floor. So you're not going a mile down the putting shafts. This outcrops at surface. It is at surface, which again, in a mining scenario, CapEx, low OPEX. Again, we drilled a deep hole. We hit 4 brand new zones in the volcanics this year, which had VG. We had no idea it existed. So what does it tell us? There's lots more going on down there. We may see another series of these stacked type of lasagna, the 10 layer, whatever, baklava. It's got all the juice in between your layers. With that, I'll take some questions. Yes, sir.
In a mine, you usually dig the hole, you go underground, you have to pay all that money, you get the trucks going all the way down. This is from the mount, so you're talking about, so you drill, you just go into the mountain to get
The bottom slide.
the bottom
So
side.
basically, you're just putting adits into the side of the hill, you're doing like a room and pillar. You're gonna go high grade, the Bonanza, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed. You know, it's running a half an ounce to an ounce, maybe showing 1 to 3. Pay for CapEx, and then you go get the other stuff after that.
How much cheaper is it doing it something like this compared to doing it, just going into the ground and creating that? Like, is there like what's the mining fee differential? If that is capable?
It depends, because you're moving earth, so it's an earth moving exercise. And whatever earth you're moving, you wanna make sure you got mineralization, otherwise if it's dead rock, you're burning up this thing, it's outcrops the surface, just go in and follow the vein. So be very, again, the return on capital will be very, very quick on this, I believe.
And very quick.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
What percentage of your shares are owned in Canada versus the United States?
Canada, US, I would say a third Europe, a third US, and a third Canada.
Really, that much in the US?
Yes, we're working on it.
And,
You know, Money Channel and all those guys, really
who are
super
your-
guys, by the way.
Who are your Canadian investment bankers?
Looking at it.
What about Canaccord, people like that?
You know what, I raised $14.6 million in 2022, wrapped up in a bow, called all the bankers, crickets. Didn't get a call back, guess what? I saved the company 7, 8, 10% on fees and brokers. So I've raised $58 million last 3 years, 6%. That's almost $4 million I've saved this company in broker.
And Lord knows what else would happen, sometimes shorting and stuff.
I'm sure it's all sorts of stuff, yeah, so. But eventually when it comes, like BMO, Cormark, Raymond James, this last financing I did, you know, stock was trading between 120, 130. The back end issue price is $1.25, there was no warrant. So these guys wanted to do like a 20% discount to market, and I said, take the high road, guys, go in the market. So, yes, sir.
I think you'll have to raise more money. I mean, obviously you got the warrants of the exercise.
Yeah,
and that's
for sure.
$1 million left before
Yep.
you're ready for the next steps.
Correct, correct. So that, so we have this thing in Canada, it's called a charity flow through. So as a quick, easy example, say for every back end dollar that Alfred puts into the private placement, I get $1.60. So that way I'm able to minimize dilution on the company. It's charity flow through for kind of billionaires in Canada. They donate this stuff. They don't care. They just want to own it for literally 2 seconds to show the transaction that I did own it, and then I sold it to Alfred. But to that question, we'll have to drill, because what we want to do, we want to increase confidence in this high grade zone. We want to get 100-meter spacings in here. Again, just to increase confidence, we've got quite a bit of, pretty good amount of holes down to the bottom end of this thing. But we'll have to put 100-meter spacings in here so that you're looking at about 35,000 meters. Drilling depends what part of the mountain we drill from, because the higher we drill, longer the hole. You can drill lower in the mountain, the lower, the shorter the hole. So $500 Canadian all in, that's assays, geologists, consumables, fuel, et cetera, et cetera. Last year, costs were $380. This year, it'll be closer to $500. I think 2025 will probably be around that, back to that $400 level. So let's just do rough math. 40,000 meters here, 10,000 meters at our new discovery. We don't have time to talk about it. If you want to come by the booth, it's pretty cool. So call it 50,000 meters, $500. You're looking at $25 million. But of this 9.5 million, we're looking at talking to the TSXV about being able to convert that into the back end of a charity flow. So that actually equates to maybe $16 million plus or minus. Yes.
So being that it's majority surface mining, it's on the mountain, you know, digging pits, is there like a reclamation fund and?
Right now we just put because right now we're just exploring. We're not, we're years from an actual maiden resource. Again, because we don't know how big it is, which is a great question to have.
But it would
Even
be
after all-
minor reclamation compared to like, I mean, moving forestry, digging, you know, moving streams and.
We've already started a water study. That was 2 years ago now. So we're getting in preparation. So again, when hopefully a suitor comes along at some point, we've already done a bunch of things. We are going to. We're going to look at putting a possible adit in to take out maybe a bulk sample of 15 to 20,000 tons of material. That's running half an ounce now, so it could be like $40 million to the company, no dilution. But, obviously you gotta follow regulations and so on. The whole area is pro-mining, the government's pro-mining, they're putting money in, upgrading roads, power lines. First Nations, pro-business, pro-mining, they're big into the logging business as well, and mining, so they're making tons of dough. Use this particular route, so. Yes, sir.
Are most of your employees contract?
Everything's contract. I'm employee number one, my CFO is up there, he's employee number two. So our burn rate's super low, when we're not drilling. We wrapped up this year, first week of October. We won't start drilling until probably sometime in June. So between that time, it's just gonna be, assays are coming, we'll update the model, and then the big burn will start happening, the invoices start rolling in. Once we start drilling 30 days later, so kind of probably end of June, sometime July. So there's no rush to raise money right now, so there's no funding overhead kind of pushing down. This year I came in at 2024 with 4 million in the till. I didn't do a financing until August.
Seems like you have everything mapped out pretty good on how you get to that time that you can drill up there and really calculate where you should be, how it should be, and you get to talk to the uppers. Now, Bob McHugh and McHugh Mining, there's like in Canada, there's a lot of these famous miners, and I know that one of them, him, invested in you. What triggers him to keep coming over, and when does he say, enough, I've had it? People like that.
I met him in Beaver Creek, wasn't even pitching him on the financing. He saw all the high grade we're hitting, and he said, can I take $1 million worth? Meanwhile, he just wrote me a check for, quite a few million, just 6 months prior to that.
So these guys see this, and then so your exposure going around and really starting to pick up eyes.
Rob loves the high grade, like Gold Corp, basically where he made his billions. He basically amalgamated with Newmont, it was Gold Corp Newmont, right? And that's basically which is now Newmont, which is the #1 gold producer in the world, I believe. Plus or minus, or Zijin, you got these guys depending on the country. But no, he's great to have. He's full of advice and.
Do you have other guys like that?
Quentin Henning from Crescat Capital, who's been around for over 30 years. He's discovered mines, he's built mines, he's operated mines. So we have complete access to his contact list of when we need someone to speak with. How do we address this? What's the best way? So, everyone's involved.
It's like free consultants, yeah.
It is free, it's free. But right now, I can tell we know the drillers we're gonna use next year, the actual people. We know what companies, we know what helicopter pilots we're using. So we keep all the good apples, we get rid of all the bad apples. You're not invited back to the camp. So we have tier 1 people operating, because this is a logistics thing. We have 3 months to drill 40,000 meters. Guess what? Every day, every hour you're standby, you're burning up cash. Because you're paying these guys standby no matter whether they're working or not.
With more than 6,000 small and micro-cap companies listed, if you're looking for the next Apple, then Channel Check truly is your tree. It's an investor community where you can access independent Wall Street research, advanced market data, balanced news, corporate videos, and podcasts. You can even register to attend in-person Meet the Management Series luncheons, and to be part of the preeminent annual Small and Micro-Cap Investor Conference, NobleCon. And here's the best news. Since Channel Check is sponsored by the featured companies, premium membership requires no investment. It's absolutely free. So check it out. Log in today. Find out why Channel Check is North America's leading source of research on the companies that just may change the world.